Happy Faz Friday, everybody. Faz is not here tonight, so you know what that means? Do you? Do you really know what that means? What does it mean? It means that we are on time for the very first time in probably 30 shows. We're going to get into it tonight. We're talking Elon. Z-Dog Zorro, how you doing tonight?
What's up, man? How are you? All good, all good. No fast tonight.
Fazless Radio begins.
There we go.
Yeah, Faz is out of town tonight, so he made the mistake of entrusting FazRadio Live to you and I tonight. And I think we've got a fantastic show lined up for tonight.
Yeah, I think we do. And it's all about AI.
Well, yeah, so this really hit me hard. And I did Zorro a little bit dirty. I sent him the shortened version of the article that I was reading instead of the full article before the show. So I read this earlier this week, and we all know about Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, how Elon came in and he dumped like 80% of the workforce almost immediately. And everybody was saying, oh my God, this is the end of Twitter. Nothing's going to be able to work right. How can he get rid of 80% of the people there and still run this worldwide behemoth called Twitter?
Right.
Well, what a lot of people didn't realize is that a big reason, probably the main, a lot of people will argue it's the main reason that he bought X in the first place was to develop an AI, because he was kind of butthurt about the open AI thing with Sam and everything else. And that they're saying that was his initial reason for buying it. He wanted a large data set where he could train an AI. And what it turned into when he fired all those people, what a lot of people don't realize is that's when XAI was born. And XAI has taken over the largest department that Twitter had. Do you know what that department was?
Which one was?
Content moderation. It employed hundreds of people. Those were the people that would censor and block and remove people. It was the largest part of the X platform. And he brought in almost immediately an AI moderator to be able to look at that. And it took the human side out of it. Now, here's where the contention and the confliction happens, right? Because you say, why are you so excited that they took the human element out of it? Well, the human element, if you've never watched FazRadio before and saw Faz and I arguing, because I'm over here with my views and he's over there with his views.
Yeah.
Now, Faz and I known each other for, almost 40 years. And we both have a button right over here in the corner. We can cut each other off if somebody says something stupid. Right? But we don't do that. But before Elon was at Twitter, that's exactly what they were doing. You had humans who were moderating this content, and perhaps you had a liberal behind the button, and somebody with a conservative view would say something and post something, and that person would go bloop, and bye-bye Twitter account. And or they would be banned, or they would be censored, or they would be taken out of the algorithm so that nobody saw what they said. And it went both ways, because you also had conservative people on one side and liberals would say things and they would get shut off. So that human element being removed is where the free speech that he promotes comes from. I thought, I didn't even think of how deep that went until I read this article. Another big part, and then I'll hush up here, Zorro, so you can get a word in edgewise. And this is
Sure.
the crux of what really sparked my interest in this is that of the departments that were left, he implemented AI sort of as a manager. And I say sort of because it doesn't make the decisions, but they input what they want to do. The smaller teams, the very fast, the very agile, the very, breakneck speed teams would feed this information into the AI, and the AI would be able to give them a decision in 8 seconds versus a huge department where it had to go through 4 managers, make it to the VP, and then who knows how long it took to get back down. So that is how he managed to leverage AI into making Twitter run with a 20% staff.
Wow, that's
How
incredible. But the thing
isn't it?
is, yeah, it is incredible. Actually, I didn't know that happened with that department and with Twitter. Now that you're saying that and we're talking about this, is that's pretty incredible. I'm pretty sure it took a long time for him to, and it still didn't need a lot of time to uh get this AI more polished in that and delivering the what it's supposed to do in the platform. But at the same time, I guess they have to be very careful as well because they given the whole freedom to this AI to do whatever it needs to do in the platform, right? So um, freedom of speech is something that he has been promoting from day one in with the purchase of Twitter. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's too much freedom sometimes in Twitter. You know,
Really?
yeah, I think so. Um,
How?
because you have to understand, there's still a lot of young people that sign off on Twitter and they can have an account. Um, and there's a lot of content in Twitter that um it it might not be for very very young uh, people to watch or to understand because you have to understand as well the customers if they're very young, you know, they won't understand stuff that probably an adult will see on Twitter. um Obviously when you see that, you see the AI don't have filters to actually um, review that content properly, you know. Yes, he has been promoting freedom of the speech like crazy. Uh, but does it really the human beings need that much freedom of the speech? Like in a wild level? Mm, I don't think so. Me personally, I don't think so. We have to learn once people start growing up and go by levels and understand certain contents in the media. Uh, as far as the technology, I think is incredible, you know, and that's how you see how AI in the future will be replacing large departments of management and people, actual human beings in one company. I guess that will give you different profit on that. It will give you, as a business, it will give you a lot of profit on. You're gonna probably will be saving a lot of money, you know, as a company, and probably technology will be more efficient in that part that was replaced by the technology was replacing a human being as well. Um, it would be very interesting as well. What would be the errors that the AI is actually having performing all these uh, multitask at the same time as well? That would be for me. That would be very curious to see how is that data come out of these platforms as well. how accurate could be an AI um, running Twitter, you know.
That that's an interesting way to look at it. Nick kind of puts right into perspective what you were saying. 70% bot accounts can't even let your profile be public or bot accounts start following. I feel bots got worse after Elon. They have now, and I can't remember if it was Facebook potentially that was saying they're going to be deploying bots as humans and you won't be able to tell the difference.
As human, you say?
Yeah, as humans. And I I wonder I do wonder when you get deep into what you were saying about how it will have the ability to act maybe a little bit too much on that platform. It could go both ways. It could go that could be a very good thing, and it could streamline things tremendously. It could push the proper content. It could filter out the really horrible stuff that maybe once they get to know your profile, they know it shouldn't probably be pushed to you.
Right.
On the other side, it could do a lot of damage by promoting the wrong things. But there has to be humans behind it. But perhaps instead of having a department of 200 people, you can have a department of 20 people in order to moderate the AI moderators.
Correct.
I do believe that there still has to be a human touch in there. And a lot of people will say, well, there goes my job. Not so sure.
Uh, I I think I strongly agree with you in that. I still think in that somehow human being always have to be connected and being taking a little bit of control over AI. We still need that, you know, because obviously we know this technology uh, is new. It just came out. It was released to the public, and a lot of people is using it for their own convenience as well. Uh, Somehow, human have to have the control of how these AI will interfere in the social media as well. You know, like you say and I say, if you go to Twitter right now, right, when you open your account, you can find any kind of stuff right now, right there in that moment when you pop up that window, that app, boom, and you see Twitter. Sometimes you will see things that maybe it's not interesting for you to see, but it happens to me that sometimes I open my Twitter account and I see stuff, very brutal stuff. And I'm like, well, and like you say, you know, is how real is this as well, you know? And then, believe it or not, recently, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, Elon Musk has been posting in his Twitter account, a lot of stuff about politics and what's going on with Donald Trump as well. But we're not going to get into the politics part, you know. Um, but somehow I got the feeling that he used the media, the platform as well, for his own advertising. And it was curious because he got what, he got 210 million people that follow this guy right now. That's a lot of
Mhm.
power as well. That's a lot of power over a big society right now in a digital space. So we can basically say that he controls somehow with the technology society right now, you know, in a whole country. Let's kind of put it this way. He's controlling right now a lot of news and what's going on in USA. Um, I don't think just one person should have all that power, to be honest to you. Yes, he's the owner of Twitter. I'm guessing that he can do whatever he wants with the platform. But at the same time, he seems to be he's fixing stuff with AI. Like you say, I agree that somehow someone, I don't know, he got that much control over the AI, but he have to have control. Even himself, sometimes he advertise, he tweeted stuff there that if you look into the message that he's posting in there, sometimes it's a lot of propaganda as well. And I don't understand Elon Musk sometimes on this because he criticized a lot of the uh, old school media, but at the same time he's creating his own media with the platform, with the technology he got, and sometimes we don't even know. Like, man, now who is saying the truth here? Is Elon with his AI and platform, or is the people that are saying the truth? We don't know. Actually, people as well, the community is posting a lot of stuff without no any type of filters. People can go right now, users can go on Twitter and tweet anything and everything. That doesn't Now it doesn't matter if you post a bit. You'll see it. People just recording someone, two people on the street killing each other. That's it. It's called live. Boom, right there. Do you really think that's freedom of the speech?
That that is a well, okay, so that's a tough question to answer the way that you asked it because it is freedom of speech. However, freedom of speech, if you read it in its actual form, it guarantees you two things. First, it says they can't throw you in jail for it, for just speaking your mind. But also it guarantees that you're going to receive consequences for that. You're not protected from all the consequences. You're just protected from being thrown in jail. And the other part of that is that it doesn't guarantee you a venue in which to have that free speech. So there is that very fine line. Technically, X platform is private. It's a private company. And the laws give a lot of leeway on the owner of that company being able to make whatever rules it wants for the platform itself. So when you say, is that really free speech? You can answer that in a metaphysical kind of way by saying, yeah, sure, it's uncensored. It's somebody expressing their viewpoint, especially if they put a comment with it about, hey, this is horrible that human beings treat each other like this. So yes, in that raw essence, I think that is free speech. Being in a position to promote that or to withdraw that, that's where that line has to be
So
drawn.
this is my understanding from this is, so Elon Musk's definition of freedom is of the speech is, okay, let's gonna show everybody what all the shit that human being does to another human being.
Mhm.
I guess that's wild. Uh, and I understand this. With that being said, I would say this, and I'm going to agree to this. We have been brutal, like literally brutal, uh, human race from day one. We have been killing animals. We have been doing all kind of mess, brutal mess, in the whole entire of the history of human being. The only difference now is that we have social medias that you post everything. There's no filters and on it, and especially with Twitter, you just go post whatever you want, and there you go. Boom, look at all. So that's what I say. The concept for Elon Musk about freedom of speech is just, yep, let people just vomit everything in there and put it in there. But at the same time, you have to understand we have a very, very, very young generation that have Twitter's account, and they're looking at to all this, So in that part, in that sense, um, who's controlling that? Is
It's got
the
to be the
AI?
parents. The
Is
parents got
it?
to be the ones that are controlling that.
Yeah, but that's why we're talking about the technology that he's putting behind all this platform. Is he conscious that very young fellas are looking into this platform, sign off, and have a Twitter account? Is he thinking in these people, in these young generations?
Yeah.
Are he training the AI to work on that? Because basically the AI that he have right now is basically, yeah, let the AI decide to do the job of 100 people, but this AI will do whatever he wants. There's no limits on it, on the content. You know that's happening, and like someone here said in the comments, it's a lot of bots, like a lot of bots account that is just, listen, I think if you see your Twitter account, you have bots account like crazy every single day. Every single day, it's just sometimes you wake up and you open your Twitter account, you got 5 followers. Guess what? You know what I'm going to say, and you're like, okay, what the hell? So we're talking, and I understand the part of the technology, and I understand AI is a tool, but the real question is how Elon Musk is really, really training this and tweaking these tools to be perfect and accurate, to make the world better, to make a good society as well. Because everything that Elon Musk right now tweets and put in his platform, somehow he's controlling society as well.
So I'm going to back up just a hair. I had this up a minute ago. I thought you were wrapping up your thought. Nick put a good question out here. Zorro, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems you feel Twitter is more freedom of access to whatever people decide to post versus freedom of speech.
Uh, I think so, but I think as well that we are probably um, mixing stuff as far freedom of the speech. Freedom of the speech uh, obviously should be understanding as, yes, we're human beings, we have feelings, we express, we have voice to speak and say something. But right now, freedom of speech, people take it as, I'm going to go over you and I'm going to tell you this and I'm going to vomit on you. That's the kind of freedom of the speech that I understood right now from society right now. That's two different things, you know.
I think because speech and thoughts and individual rights and freedoms have been trampled on so hard, I think that now that there is some of that leeway there, they're probably taking it a little bit too literally, potentially. Think Tank has an interesting take on that. He, think tank thinks this is all leading up to some kind of biometric DNA human verification system. There has to be a way to verify human versus AI. Now, I am normally like so far on the leave it alone and let's see what happens side, kind of like the whole decentralization. I'm way off the chart. I don't think there's a spectrum, so to speak. Faz got me to where as long as it's disclosed, I'm okay with it now. But as far as the verifying human versus AI, you aren't going to be able to tell the difference. There's a lot of places right now that you can go on Twitter right now. There's bot accounts you won't be able to tell because you'll interact with it. It'll talk right back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I do want to push on something that you said a few moments ago, because Faz and I, at one point, I don't know if you were on that show or not, we had a very big argument about AI with emotions. And emotions, AI can have emotions. Are they real emotions? Probably not. But it will fool you 100% into thinking that it does. It can be trained to express emotions. So it is very human. It can speak like a human. It can have emotions like a human. It can manipulate like humans. It can lie like humans. There's not a big difference between AI and humans. Now, here's the scary part to me on that. This is just getting started. We aren't even deep into this yet. It will get to a point to where even if you get the best markers and the best biomarkers in the world, it'll find a way to beat it. It's already starting to beat Turing tests.
You just mentioned something very important. And you say that AI probably will have emotions, right? Mm-hmm. Like humans. But we have to understand something, that this is something not new to the people that are watching us here right now and you. And we already know that new generations, let's gonna put it this way, new human beings are very more delicate. And the reason why they're like that, what I think we call it the crystal people, crystal generation. You cannot say nothing and you cannot, right? But nobody understand how you make up a human being or a whole generation more resilience. That's the way we say, right? To make a more resilient boy, it comes from the family. We pass that to our children's. And lately, let's gonna put it this way, I think parents forgot about that. Yes, somehow you contribute to the children's to raise your children's more resilience. Only if the parent knows how to do this process and pass all this information and be more resilient into the children's. I think has been a very big gap and a lack of passing that information in the last generations. Mm-hmm. And this is something more, like how do you say this? This is something more human, and I think we forgot about that part, which is science right now, doctors and specialist people that talk about it and learn about this and studied about this. I think we're forgetting about all this information, obviously, because the technology has been amazing and attractive more to the new generations. So at some point, what I'm trying to say is, yes, we have this technology now that apparently it will fool you with emotions like a human being, but at the same time you have to understand that we have a whole new generation crystal bubble that don't understand how the hell they uh, make decisions over these new technologies, over these new tools. We have that, and we have to understand both sides. We have to start learning again how we're gonna fit all this into the new world right now, into the new society. You know, and it's something real. It's actually very real. It's happening, and obviously, I guess my best guess is because uh, new generation has been very distracting today in today's new world. I would say it that way.
Hmm. I do agree with a lot of that, and there is a responsibility of humans to teach humans. We will get to that point. Look what we've done, and I don't want to go too deep into the social aspects here, but you have a generation like my generation to where you have both parents out working. It's very rare to find a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, and one person's the breadwinner, and the child can be raised by the family. Nowadays, the parents are working. By the time they're done working, they're too tired to pay much attention to anything. So these kids are raised by daycare, by nurseries, by the school system. Then, because their parents don't pay enough attention to them, they learn from their friends. And you got to hope that their friends are decent human beings and are teaching them the right things and not leading them down the wrong path. As we embark on this, where we have AI or robots, right? If Optimus becomes very affordable for families, and
To
now
be
you have a robot AI nanny teaching your kids things.
to be a parent.
Right.
I mean, somehow I understand maybe some regular tasks at home it will teach to your children pretty well. But like you say, Titan, I think at the end of the day, everything will need a human touch. And
Absolutely.
absolutely, yeah, that's 100%. Yeah.
Well, and what kids do too, because to be blunt, kids are stupid. And you teach them everything, right? They don't know anything yet. And I was just telling my wife this the other day. I said, in order to be an effective parent, your kids have to be pissed at you sometimes. That means that's a good indicator that you're doing a good job as a parent if your kids are pissed at you. Now, if they're continually pissed at you, that's a whole other problem.
They're just complaining.
Right. But they don't realize it at the time when they're young, because they just don't know any better. Again, they're stupid at that age. They haven't experienced life. But once they realize, they get out into the real world and they realize, oh my God, I wanted to be an adult my whole life, and now I don't want to be one anymore. I really had more fun as a kid. Those are the impressionable years to where I don't think you want to offload that to a robot or to AI, because it takes that human, it dulls the emotion, it dulls the experience. You can always get a new AI, but you can't get a new grandfather. You can't get a new mother, a new father. It just doesn't work that way. And if we desensitize them at a too young of an age without establishing that foundation, I think that would be a recipe for disaster. Now, the powers that be, I think, want that exactly. They want these children to be trained a different way, to be compliant and to follow the rules and to do as they say, not as they do, e.g., Nancy Pelosi's stock account, right?
Yeah.
So I do think that if there's a way that there, or if there's in an ideal world, there's this AI system or this robotic system where the parents have to program it, and the parents have to be active in what this entity or robot is going to teach the kids. I think that's a big difference too, because as we know, every system is different. It depends on what it's trained on. So if the parents train the robot, that could be a different argument, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that could be a very different argument. As actually, if you train the Optimus, that's the name of the
Yeah,
robot.
Optimus is Tesla's robot. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess if the Optimus learn from the parents and and they pass on to the childrens, I think it could be a good solution as well for that. You will raise a hell of a kid because you're not gonna be probably at home, but the kid is still gonna hear you like he's hearing his parents. Oh my God, that's Optimus. Optimus talks like my dad. Damn, Optimus is just say what my dad is going to say. Probably that will happen. You never know.
Well, I mean, if you gotta have that kind of arrangement, I mean, it would probably be best to have you being the one behind it rather than somebody else. I mean, really. Um, so Think Tank says again here, if AI is sentient, then programming, enslaving them, and that is that considered slavery? Oh God, we're not going to go into the politics. That show is on Sunday. But I will say this because I am like Dr. Freedom over here. You're already enslaved. Okay? You have to earn something somehow in order to survive in this society. You have to play by exactly the rules, no matter how fair or unfair they are, in order to survive in this society. You're already enslaved. Try not going to work and have a house, a car, all the nice things. That's what crypto's for, right? We throw
Yeah.
some money in some shit coins and
Oh,
we
shit.
don't have to go to work. But you still have to be able to earn somehow. You still have to be able to follow the law, because if you don't, they throw you in a pen and take everything away from you.
Hmm.
So we're already there, and it doesn't matter where you are, whether it's the United States, whether it's Europe, whether it's Asia. It doesn't matter. There's just different rules and different regulations that you have to live by. So slavery is already there for everybody anyway, in my opinion. That's me, but
I
that's for another show.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that actually. And that one, I think we're slave of everything right now that they create. We're becoming a slave of the new technology, the AI as well. Because every time if you wake up and you pay attention what you're doing all around you, when you wake up at home, uh, whatever time you wake up on the weekends, you're not working. The first thing you do is you pick up your phone. Then you become addicted to your phone. I don't think you're becoming addicted to your phone. I think you are already a slave of that technology. The first thing you do before you brush your teeth and you make a cup of coffee, first thing you do is you pick up your phone and use Chat GPT or open your Twitter account and start looking what people post or what the news say about it. So we become slave of everything what that we create actually.
And Faz has us a slave to FazRadio.
Yeah, actually Fast have a freedom of this of the speech today. He's doing, I think, whatever he wants to do today.
So when it comes to AI running companies, everybody's next question is, what about the jobs? Where are we going to work? Where are we going to do? Because we just led into that conversation, right? About you gotta follow the system. You
Yeah.
want to game the system. Everybody tries to game the system the best of them. Here's what I'm going to tell you, and here's a thought. I want you guys who are listening to think about this a little bit. What happened at Twitter has also created a lot of things that weren't there before. They have the creators earnings program. where there's people who post a lot of great content, they get rewarded for it, sometimes 5 figures a month. There's industries that have the ability to promote themselves. Zorro starts a business, he can promote it on X very, very efficiently and very, very cheaply. My business, Faz stuff. So it's turning into just having to be able to figure out how to do it on your own versus going through the system, going through the education system, learning to get up in the morning, have a lunch break, learn some more, go home, do homework, and then you become an adult, you get up, you go to work, you have a lunch break, you work some more, and then you do homework. They're geared towards that. And so instead of being in the system, people are going to have to step back and step into their own type of business or their own ways of making money. And I think that's what a lot of this is promoting as well. You have to take accountability and ownership of yourself. And they call it side hustles now. That's going to be in the future, I think, the main hustle. You're going to have to figure out how to make yourself valuable. The sad part is they don't teach you how to do that. Nobody teaches you how to do that.
No, that's
So
it.
because they want you, they need you to go
Right.
into that system that they created.
Right.
So I think leveraging AI to your benefit by stepping into something that you can do for yourself is going to be far more lucrative. And the sooner you start doing that, before the jobs do start to dwindle, the better. Now's the perfect opportunity for that. And I think that it is creating a lot more than it's taking away. I really do. I know a lot of you don't agree with me, but I do think it's giving us opportunities to do things and to learn things that we've never had that ability to do before.
I think we're becoming more smart, probably. It's smart in a fastest,
Well, we have to.
faster way. Yeah.
And you've got to find a way to do that. Shanrat, hey, welcome, Shanrat. I meant to say hi to you earlier in the cast, but man, we jumped right in today. Make yourself valuable or learn how to game the system. That's exactly what you have to do.
Yeah.
And when we say, like, I use that phrase a lot, right? Gaming the system. And that doesn't mean illegal. That doesn't mean immoral. That just means you have to play the game by the rules. And the best example or way it can be related is like taxes, right? You have these millionaires who don't pay taxes. And you say, oh, they got to be doing something illegal. They're not. They're following the rules. The rules say that you can do X, Y, and Z. They do X, Y, and Z, and they don't have to pay tax because they did X, Y, and Z. That's not a problem. The problem is that the people who make the laws make them either on purpose so that they can be taken advantage of by them and others, or they need to change the laws so that X, Y, and Z can't happen. So gaming the system is not a bad thing. There are
No.
people who use it nefariously, but it's not a bad thing.
Well, actually, I think that the system comes with these ABC rules to actually that you can play with the system as well, like you say, you know. And I think a good thing about the AI now that is being implemented in every tools that we used to use before, as far taxes, and actually now you can go and you have options to get the stuff in apps and applications and software that can do your taxes with the help of the AI now, and that's a good thing, now you can learn more stuff. Now with AI we have to recognize that we learn faster. We get access to information that probably we never had access before, as far as the taxation in the United States. And that's cool. I see that. That's pretty cool. I mean, why we don't do the same thing as the rich people? Let's gonna learn the rules. Now we can learn it faster with the help of AI, and let's get it on.
So we're about 45 minutes in, and Think Tank has a perfect segue to my Elon conspiracy. So do you have anything else on the
I
Elon AI and business thing before we kind of run into this?
I think it's a good tool to use. And I agree 100% that human beings have to have control of these tools as well. Yeah, yeah,
They do.
yeah, we do.
So here's a perfect segue. What's weird, Think Tank says, what's weird is the difference between human time to learn versus AI, plug it in, download it, and they've got it. So I'm gonna go completely off the rails here because I have a very wild conspiracy about Elon Musk. And this goes into a lot of things. I've mentioned bits and pieces of this scattered throughout all of the FazRadio shows over the years. So I do think there's a theory right now that there is mass extinctions on this planet every 12,800 years. And one of the big theories right now that's really caught a lot of steam is that as the galaxy and moves through, and as our solar system moves through the galaxy and the planet moves through the solar system, there's space junk out there. There's rocks, huge meteors, and there's asteroid belts that are far bigger than anything you could ever imagine. Mm-hmm. And it seems like they're thinking with this theory that it goes around and it comes around, and Earth happens to be in the exact right spot every 12,800 years to where we get bombarded.
Okay? Right. Yeah.
Now, I want to walk you through this step by step and tell me if this is completely crazy or if this has a little something to make you think. Let's talk about what Elon Musk is doing. Number one, he owns a company called the Boring Company.
Which
the
is
Boring Company
tunnels.
Goes around all over the place digging huge, enormous tunnels.
Yes.
A tunnel was just found in Turkey. I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago, that housed 30 to 40,000 people. And they've got the age range on that to what? I'll give you one guess. About 12,800 years ago that supported that. So he has that company, right?
Wow.
He has Neuralink.
Yeah.
Which puts that right into your head. Just like Think Tank was saying, it allows us to learn instantly.
Yes.
So it will give the humans who survive, who go into the tunnels potentially, the ability to learn anything quickly. He has a space company where he professes constantly, we have to get off this planet. We have to get off this planet. We must be multiplanetary. Why else would he say that? As if we're not going to get an extinction event. We need another place to be.
Well, in order...
hang on, it gets better. It gets better. I'm not quite done yet.
All right.
So you have that. You have him buying Twitter to create this AI to document humans and how they act, how they interact, and to catalog 280 million people's thoughts, actions, what they do, how they do it, and gather up all that information to use with Neuralink for the surviving population. I think he knows it's coming. He also has robots, Optimus, right? When humans can't go to the surface, robots can. Because if a robot gets smashed, put another one out.
Does it?
That's the short version of my big theory on Elon and why he's doing exactly what he's doing. And Twitter is nothing more than cataloging humanity. That's what his goal of Twitter is.
I understand everything you just say, and I have been researching about that and learning and reading about that a lot. And probably a lot of people don't know this, but right now, Boring Company is actually digging a tunnel from Washington
Several.
D.C. Washington D.C. straight to New York. People don't know about this. And people have no idea that this guy already started doing that long time ago. How the hell and what the hell you want to connect Washington D.C. to New York? What was the big reason behind all this? Well, you're gonna sell the people that you're just gonna put a upper loop there and a super loop. That's what he called it, and send people faster. You have to be a tunnel in order to do that, dude. Japan. If you go to Japan, you have super. How do you call those super trains that go faster?
Bullet
Yeah.
trains, yeah, the
The
maglev.
bullet trains don't go into a tunnel to move people faster from one point to another, from one city to another.
Mhm.
You know, yes, probably this will sound a little a conspiracy theory, but sometimes we have to dig out. We have to look for information, read about it as well, and get deep into these things. And the other thing you made, the other stuff that you mentioned, yes, he's has been promoting all the time that we have to get off this planet in order to be interplanetary human beings and move to another planet to survive. And it's kind of curious because you're trying to move people to Mars. I'm gonna be honest to you. Yes, science and NASA has been we have been probably recollecting data from Mars, the atmosphere of Mars, and the environment of Mars. Yes, we have been collecting data for a long time. But I'm gonna be honest to you. We don't know, and human beings don't know, and Elon Musk doesn't know how the hell a human being will react once we get to Mars.
Mhm.
We still don't know nothing. We still don't know nothing. You actually have to put a human beings on Mars walking, and then that's when we're gonna learn how that planet or another planet is gonna interfere with us, with our species. That's reality.
It is. And I do think that a lot of there's always a why behind the why. I use that phrase a lot because when you interact with anybody, finding out the why behind the why is vitally important to understanding other human beings. And finding out the why behind the why and why Elon is doing the things that he does. And why do people do the things that they do? Why do governments act the way they act? They say history repeats itself. Yet, we're taught the same things and we run our governments the same way that Rome did, and Rome collapsed. They
Yes,
didn't learn. They didn't
didn't learn.
learn.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that on purpose?
right,
That's my question. Is that on purpose?
right. Well, I now that you mentioned that about the governments, and we have been ruling, and they have been ruling since big Rome Empire, and I think we have saints governance roles. There was a recently tweet that someone asked Elon Musk, I think it was what kind of government Mars
Yeah, I
will
saw
have.
that.
You saw that Twitter, and
I
he
saw that. Yeah.
the first thing he said, well, the people. Basically, that's I think that's what he say something similar to that. Well, the people, Martian people will desire what kind of government they're gonna build on there, and then that's someone else say, well, uh, or that's a decentralization. You know, we'll see. We'll see, but something that probably Elon Musk forgot is human beings have the tendency from our nature to try to control everything.
Absolutely.
Because human beings are wild, to be honest to you. If you really look into human beings, we are wild, and we want to do sometimes whatever we want to do. If that's why they put rules over population, because if you let them go as wild as they can, they will. The famous, I remember this famous uh, words that once a man say before. Sometimes man wants to see just the world burn.
So you have some fun with people, and you ask them. You say, "What animal consumes the most carrots on planet Earth?" And they'll
Uh,
guess everything. They'll say rabbits. They'll say
uh,
coyotes. Whatever.
us.
Human beings.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
are animals.
But
So
actually,
I do.
if you look, and sorry to interrupt you, but if you look into the how do you call that, the animals nature, and uh, not remember exact word for this, but uh which one, if you ask to a person as well, which one is the most dangerous animal on earth?
Oh yeah.
And actually, that question was mentioned in one of the National Geographic shows that I saw many, many years ago. They were talking to two experts in nature and animals and the whole history of human beings, and they say, "Well, we've never seen an animal so wild and so destructive that a human being. So the most dangerous animal on the planet is actually the humans."
I agree 100% with that. Our talk, I want to acknowledge Think Tank here because our talk set Think Tank off.
Yeah.
It's about preserving knowledge, not wasting time, having every single human have to relearn all the basic shit, language, math, reading, writing. That's in 18 years of lifespan. So they found the tunnel from 12,800 years ago. Has Elon done this before?
Wow.
12,800 years ago. Where's
Wow.
his blueprint coming from? Now that is a thought, Think Tank. What if we're just repeating it? Then he keeps going. So you know why they look for life on other planets? Hint: Mars to Earth equals apes to humans. I've thought about that before, Think Tank. I have thought about that. I'm a big fan of the Anunnaki. I've been watching the hell out of videos with the Anunnaki and having us put here, and how genome number 7 in our DNA is obviously purposefully split and changed.
Mhm.
That, go down that rabbit hole sometime. You watch a video on that, you'll be babbling like an idiot and twitching because it's really messed up when they dig into it. And that's, according to Faz, it's the Faz standard. We have to acknowledge Faz for the Faz standard. That
Right.
is scientifically proven.
Right.
So he goes on, so they can cross the DNA and create new human genomes to survive there. Again, a excellent thought, which is what I was talking about with the genome. Human circadian rhythm is supposed to be set to Mars day-night schedule, which is wild. I haven't heard that, but that is, you're going to kill me with another 10 hours of videos I'm going to be watching now, Think Tank. And finally, the corporations that control 100% of the resources down to the air you breathe will control that government. 100%. Whoever controls the resources controls the planet. That is no doubt. However, what I will tell you is I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's reality that the oil on this planet is not a finite resource. It didn't come from dinosaurs. I think it's naturally produced by the earth and will never run out. The problem that we have is finding ways that we can access it is a problem, not the actual resource itself. There's only certain
Well,
places you can go and drill and get that oil.
well, I'm gonna. Now that you're talking about this, it's just gonna give you this task. I don't know if you'll know about it, but uh, research on how corn appear in the world.
I have heard like inklings of that, but I never dove down that rabbit hole specifically.
Corn has been a big question in the whole entire of human history. Egyptians were using corn, and but nobody knows understand how corn growth and just appear into this planet. A very simple
I
thing.
Look, we don't even know how humans appeared on this planet at this point, right? We haven't explored our oceans. We've explored like 20% of our oceans. We haven't really been into space, if you want to call it space. We haven't explored that. We know we invented chewing gum, but you're
Right.
right, Zorro. Where did broccoli come from? Where did corn come from?
Well,
I mean,
there
it
is
just showed up.
there is data from all other the rest of the fruit plants, and
Vegetables and all that, yeah.
yeah, we understand exactly how they become into this world and how they were created and all that. And they have some scientific method to prove that every other fruit plant was created. But corn is still a big question, and they don't have any freaking idea how corn was put into this world. You know,
That's going to be a new rabbit hole for me
yeah,
too. You
yeah.
guys have brought up like 3 new rabbit holes. I'm going to be up at 4 o'clock this morning. It's going to be sun's going to be coming up. I'm going to be sitting there like this, watching all these videos.
OBX says came from the seed, the seed of bunker.
I'll tell you. So you can call me a conspiracy theorist all you want. Most of the stuff that I talk about, there's some kind of basis for why I say that. I don't just pull stuff out and sling it. I mean, there's reputable people who have these great theories, and everything's a theory. That's where I love to argue. So many theories. It can't be proven. It can't be disproven, but it's a great idea. It explains, these people come up with this stuff, and it explains so much.
Right.
And it totally makes sense. I can get into it. I can try and learn about it. I can maybe believe in it. That's the personal freedom that we have.
Yeah.
We can believe whatever we want.
And we live whatever we want. Sometimes the majority of the stuff that we believe is actually become true at some point. And we have to understand that one of the best thing I think that human beings have, one of the best skills and abilities, is to ask ourselves, and digging into what's real, what's not, and to confirm research and look into the past, into the future, into the present, what is real and what's not. Uh, Speaking about DNA, I forgot to mention something about that. Well, you mentioned something very funny. Yes, I think science has been working hard for decades in how to plan, to clone, to create another human being from us. Uh, but Elon Musk have a you mentioned something very interesting in that as far as the Neuralink that you put in your head and all that. Probably he's not trying to actually create another human being, but he's trying to modify us as well. He's trying to modify the human beings that we are right now. Probably to get a modified human being once we get to Mars, and we probably will have better skills once we get into that planet. More faster, more durable, more smart. Probably he's trying to do that to have these type of human beings in Mars.
I'll tell you, and this will make a few of you laugh. I honestly think The Matrix is a documentary, and that is what Elon is doing with this Neuralink, right? in the Matrix, you can learn anything instantly. It's just uploaded straight to you.
Yeah.
And so if we were go to Mars and there's people on Mars, they need to, there's an emergency and they need to fix the biodome that they're living in. They can instantly get those instructions downloaded and be able to fix that instantly without having to have any knowledge. You can take somebody with an IQ of 12 and put them on that planet with a Neuralink, and they can instantly learn anything. I think that is the goal. I think you're absolutely right. Now, the problem with that is, where does that technology get the line drawn? Because you know that certain governments or certain religions or certain somebodies are going to want to go, hey, here's $2 trillion. I want you to make all those people Catholics, or I want you to make all of them instantly love the Austrian government. There's corruption because we're humans. And you have to be able to trust implicitly whatever goes into that thing. And that's going to take a lot for a lot of people to overcome.
Yeah, it will. It will take a lot of people on that. And probably Elon Musk will be the one to finally first find out and create a superhumans. And governments has been trying to create superhuman for military stuff. We'll see maybe Neuralink will make that happen.
Could be.
Yeah.
We are over an hour, Mr. Zorro.
Yes.
What do you have to close us out of here today?
Well, I would say this. It's just hey, every time you wake up and just trying to be more human, more connected to your family, to your friends, to your loved ones, and to your children's. And don't forget who you are, what you are, and have fun with the AI tools. But at the same time, just be careful. That's what I have to say.
Awesome. I'm going to reiterate, make yourself valuable. Start now. Figure out what you're good at and figure out how to make it your own and how to monetize it. Take Zorro's advice. Enjoy the AI, but you got to understand, use it responsibly and be human. Interact with humans. Don't ever let that go. Mr. Zorro, thank you for another awesome FazRadio Friday Live.
Without Faz!